Okay, people, we're getting there. Sorry for the long delay, but it's about time. Let me show you. This is what we sliced off yesterday. It's dry and ready to be crumbled up. Okay, you can see it right here. See, it's nice and dry and brittle. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to put it in this mixing bowl. All right. And let me show you this. This is my warm, grass-fed, pasture-raised beef tallow. You saw it in that semi-solid form. This is it in liquid form. Okay. Now what we want to do is take this and grind it to a fine powder. So you have a little, like, meat hammer works best, but I don't have one of them. So I'm going to use my ladle and just start crunching that up. Okay. You know, we saw little pieces of fat. You know, you find a little earlier this morning. There's a little bit there. You know, that's really not a problem. We'll just leave that. Just start smashing it up. Actually, I'm going to get it there a little quicker just by using my dang hand God gave me. The way the Indians did it. Of course, they probably had like a wooden device that they'd smash it up with too. But, you know, you got to be resourceful. So we're going to mix this stuff up. Nice, as fine as you can get it, okay? I'm all out of my sterile gloves, except for the ones I keep for emergency in my numerous first aid kits that I keep. You know, I got one in my back car, one in my front car, one in my backpack, one on my gun belt, one on my chest rig. You never know, and you don't, you know, after a period of time, you just start accumulating them. You check them once a month, you know, I do everything on the first of the month, do my routine, you know, have your routine set up, and then, so those particular gloves gotta stay where they are, okay? I change them every year, just because they get kind of yucky, and although I have some in an old U.S. Army, this one's for the doggy, buddy, from the U.S. Army first aid kit that I acquired from an Army buddy of mine that's got to be 20 years old, and they're still in relatively good shape. Problem with those is they kind of stick together. The humidity and the cold and, you know, expansion, contraction. Sometimes they stick together, and when you go to use them, you pull them apart and they rip. And that kind of defeats the purpose. All right, we're getting pretty fine here. You know, we got the last time I made pemmican, I put it all in a Vitamix blender and made it into a really fine powder. Except for my Vitamix blender container broke. I think because I was making soap in it. I use a method where I use sodium hydroxide, beef tallow, pork fat, a little coconut oil. I throw in some eucalyptus, tea tree oil, you know, to get the scent that I like, and Chinese citrus, or Chinese cedar. And that smells great, but what that happens is it's an exothermic reaction, meaning when you blend it together, it creates heat. I think it melted the urethane seals on it. So I was making a shake one day, a smoothie kind of thing, and all of a sudden it started leaking all out of the bottom, and it was beyond repair, so I threw it out. So here we are, reasonably fine powder, and we got about an equivalent amount of beef tallow. So we just take that, pour it in, get that drain in there nicely. Even though it's clear, it does stick to the sides. So stir it all up so it's nice and evenly coated. And as this cools, the beef tallow will solidify. So you want to come back and check it every now and then, and keep it stirred. You'll keep coming in like every 20 minutes or so, and just do as I'm doing here. Check it out. This is a great time. While you're waiting, is you to go get a nice little workout. People ask me why I always wear my hat, because I need a haircut in the worst way. It's just like all over the place. I need to get to the barber, but just haven't had a chance to do that. So I just wear a hat. And so anyway, it's a great time to get a workout or practice your draw or your reloads or all the above, you know. When you get attacked in an alley or whatever, it's usually not somebody walking up to you like the Wild West and you're going to draw and shooting like a paper target. They're going to ambush you off the side. So you need to have some certain reactions. And, you know, if they have a knife in their hand and they're going to put it in your ear, you've got to be able to get that elbow up quick, get that step back, get the draw, and start putting rounds in their junk and in their leg, the femur, anywhere in the pelvic girdle area is going to work well. It'll give you time to move back, and as you're pulling out and drawing, that finger's going. So remember, anytime you're attacked, you want to keep firing until the threat has ceased. That doesn't mean you want to kill them. That is what you do till there is no longer a threat. Never start it. Never be a badass. You'll be very, very stupid and you'll spend your life in prison. Don't be a badass. Don't drink or do drugs while you're carrying a firearm. I do not agree with Miss Freed and her marijuana users carrying concealed weapons. You know, I don't know, but that I don't make the rules. I don't allow any of my people, my students, etc., to use any substances whatsoever. I mean, it's just bad for you. It makes you old. It makes you dumb. No reason to do it. So anyway, while I'm chatting with you, I'm stirring up again, trying to keep this stuff well coated. You want the dried beef to be suspended in the beef tallow, because the beef tallow, I mean, literally, we'll take it and we'll wrap it in, you know, what do you call it? A baking parchment, seal it up real good. If you want to drop it into a paper container like they did in World War I, or pardon me, that was whatever, Spanish-American War, they did it in paper. Then they did it in tin with a little key. You remember those little keys? If you're over 50-something, you probably remember they had little tiny keys attached to your sardine cans and you wound it around. And anyway, that's what they use on the Army beef tallow. So keep that suspended, you wrap it up, and hey, praise God if we don't need to use it this fall or next year or whatever. Save it. It'll be an investment that'll last longer than most of us, okay? So anyway, good time to get a workout in. Be cognizant of what you're doing. Remember, the mind which is the most difficult thing to control because it gets impacted by our emotions. And we get angry, it shuts off our brain. I mean, it's just proven science. Believe me, the bad guys know how to manipulate the brain and the nervous system. And one of the ways they do it is, of course, by substances, chemicals, etc. they put in the food and environment. But more than that, it's by inspiring or instigating emotion so that it shuts off certain areas of the brain and then you're easily manipulated. So when you're, first and foremost, don't go to places where you're going to be at high risk unless you absolutely have to. Okay, I had a girlfriend last night dropping off some donation clothes in a bad part of town at 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, I'll come over and drive you. No, I'm already here. I'm like, you're already there. Don't do that stuff. And I just kept her on the line. She put it in the receptive, drop-off box there and made it home. But, then I would have to go there. And what you do is you don't get excited. You keep calm. Keep your eyes open. Here's a drill for you all that try to practice it. When you focus your eyes on your thumb, okay? Put two of them up there. And then keep your eyes straight ahead and move your thumbs as far as you can to the sides and still see them while looking forward. Okay, you can pretty much get a 180-degree radius at all times. This is how you want to practice environmental scanning. You just want to keep your eyes ahead, but you want to have your peripheral vision out all the time, okay? It's a great way to go. You're looking straight ahead, but you can see someone coming from either side without having to hear it first. Particularly when you get up there and if you listen to rock and roll or shot a lot of firearms, your hearing's going to go. It's going to go anyway. So you need to keep those eyes sharp and focus your gaze ahead, but keep aware on the side. We have the mailman here, and my dog is protecting me. Signing off.